Okay, let's talk about dating as a black Muslim in America.
Can I get real? Can I just be real?
Be real.
Okay.
Some people are like, oh, no, like, never look at somebody who is not, who's of the opposite sex. Haram, 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 haram. Boom. But like, it really shouldn't be like that.
What do I look for in a person? What do you look for in a person?
Well,
Islam does not promote arranged marriage in the way that it's seen on like TV.
If you see any ladies in this show in BMTV, follow them, holla at them if you want to. Don't be shy.
Like that 6 feet apart is really implemented in Islamic dating.
I'm gonna tell you how it actually is.
Let's talk about dating because it seems like nobody in the community wants to talk about it, which is a major issue.
Islam, I feel like there's no dating, personally. Well, I don't know if that's a personal thing.
Well, to be honest, and people might think it's a stretch, but this is really what it is. You know how like sometimes people put you on? Like if I put you on, it's your choice if you don't like this person or not. You can leave, you can stay, whatever, right? That's really what it is. Like, oh, you and you, I think y'all would be cute. Come over here. You know what I'm trying to say?
When you date in Islam, you should be dating with the intent to like marry the other party. I'm pretty sure.
Islam is not against getting to know somebody, right? Getting to know somebody in the right circles. But Islam is also against just getting to know people out of vain, essentially. Like, oh, I want to get to know her, I want to date her and then dip. I want to get to know her, I want to date her and then dip, right? Like, there has to be like a solid intention behind it. Like, oh, like she seems cool, I like her, I see a future with her type of situation. But running around to a lot of people, that's not really ideal.
There's a way to go about it where you're still respecting yourself and respecting your religion. You have you introduce them to your parents, or they introduce themselves to your parents.
So, growing up, people didn't really talk about what it meant to date in a halal way. So technically, you're not supposed to date. The way it would happen, to my understanding, is that you would have a wali, which is maybe an older brother, a father, an uncle, someone in your family that is supposed to look out for your best interests. This person would be the buffer between you and potential men that were interested in you. So for example, if a man was interested in me, they would go to my wali, which would either be my father, my brother, my uncle, or whoever was deemed my wali, and let them know that they were interested in me. And then that person, my wali, would let me know, maybe tell me a little bit about the person, and then I would make a decision as to whether or not I wanted to pursue the relationship further.
And they can meet and get to know each other in a chaperone type of situation, not alone, because two people who obviously are of the opposite sex have hormones. Things can happen during that. Like, Islam doesn't deny that human beings are human beings, but at the end of the day, I'm still black, and I'm not saying that excuses anything, right? So you really have to look at it from a different perspective. Like, we live in the Western world. I'm a black man, but I'm also a Muslim, so I have to keep my religion intact and my belief.
I think that anybody who wants to quote unquote date Islamically will find that oftentimes they may have to bend some of their standards.
Dating as a black Muslim in America is kind of like, there's always this subconsciousness in me that's feeling like, am I doing like this whole like dating thing?
If you don't have a wali, you're almost left with no other alternative but to meet with someone one-on-one to get to know them. There are ways to do it in a halal way. You can meet outside in public. You can meet with siblings present.
So when these rules were set, dating in Islam, I'm sure it was a time where this Western ideology of dating didn't really exist. People could easily keep it halal in their communities, but it's like now that everything is out there, people see other people doing these things, this and that, people want that for themselves, and they think, that should be the new norm.
They don't know much about our religion. They don't know, so I feel like that's why when they're like, oh, is it so strict, or dang, y'all can't do this, y'all can't do that, it's like they don't know much about our religion.
The biggest thing is about culture. Like, for example, I heard this story, right? I'm not sure, God forgive me, I don't want to like misquote anything. I'm not sure if it was the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself or just a group of Muslims like back then in Saudi Arabia. So they came to Africa, and in Saudi Arabia, or just like in the Arab world, when men and women they like keep them separate. They told them not to interact because of fear of fitna, like just doing something that is not supposed to do. So they came to Africa and they see that these men and women, they're friends, they're talking, and they're okay, and nothing bad is going on between them or whatever. And it's like, and they were surprised, like, I started from like, how can you guys even be together like this and everything is okay? And they try to explain to them like, in our culture, men and women can be friends.
I think in the world that we live in today, especially like in the Western world, it's hard, because you don't want to just jump into something, but
it just makes everything harder. Like, just because you're around so many people who are doing so many things, and you hear this and you hear that, you're like, hold up, I didn't know you could do that. Islam tells me not to. You know what I'm saying? Now people get tempted to do, commit sin and stuff like that. So America definitely makes it hard.
It's kind of hard not to. It obviously it's not impossible, and that should not be an excuse, but it's kind of hard not to do what Allah says you shouldn't do. Like, college has so much influence there. Things left and right that shouldn't be done, essentially. Especially when you come from a very, 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 like, strict Muslim household that you don't even get to breathe. Because I think when you restrict people's, like, freedom and growth, once they taste a little bit of that freedom, it's like crack. They just go crazy.
And in America definitely does make it harder, but I also feel like your partner is also like a pretty big aspect, because if your partner is also like of like the same religion, like if they're also Muslim, then they're gonna be more understanding of like you not wanting to do certain things.
I think it's important to know who you are and what you want. I mean, yes, you have to understand that you're not going to find everything you want, but somebody had told me that there are non-negotiables.
Who do I look for in a person?
I look for somebody who respects me, somebody who respects other people.
You are that.
Somebody who is not ignorant and educated.
Applications over here.
Yes.
Being a good person at the end of the day, to be my friend in any type of relationship, like be a good person with good morals and good understanding of what is right and wrong.
That is fine, handsome, that has the fear of Allah, and will love me for who I am, and is my best friend.
Definitely someone who is willing to increase their knowledge, not like most definitely number one in the religion and the deen, but I think also like in just every aspect of life.
Like above everything, just someone that's like honest and caring. So just like good communication as well, like that's very important.
Yeah.
Someone who has goals, like it don't matter what your goals are, but like you're working towards something.
Yeah.
Oh wait, and the thing about humor, you got to be able to make me laugh, because can't laugh, it's a dead relationship.
I will make you laugh.
We'll make each other laugh.
A little funny don't hurt. If you could cook, that's another.
Because I don't cook.
I mean, I could cook, but who?
I don't.
Women like guys who can cook too. Like,
I would want a practicing Muslim. My preference is a Nigerian. So a Nigerian Muslim.
They need to be Muslim.
First and foremost.
I don't really care about race. At the end of the day, Muslim, I guess, preference to someone closer to my culture.
But in a way, I'm choosing for me, but then again, I'm also choosing for my kids. So for my kids, I definitely want someone that's Muslim, and someone who's not Muslim who converts, I don't have a problem with. But dating someone that's not Muslim is like, that's gonna be hard.
Because Islam is such a part of your life. It's a lifestyle, it's guidelines, it's how you live your life. And I think the easiest way to have somebody who really relates to you, your soulmate, somebody who understands you fully as a person, is somebody who's also Muslim, who's also going through these things.
If you're just dating any other person, that has grown up around this Western culture, they're gonna want to introduce you to things that, in Islam, you're not supposed to do when you're dating unless you're married. So, like, having somebody that, is a Muslim, definitely, keeps you intact.
I would say that for me personally, like, you don't have to be, I don't want to say you don't have to be super religious, but I feel like as long as you're willing and you're every day, like, you're doing something that actively, like, puts you in a further place, like.
All right, I guess for me, like, ideally, I would have a Muslim wife, just because, like, I feel like a Muslim wife would kind of understand, like, where a lot of the things, like, where I'm coming from, and I can understand them as well. But I guess I wouldn't, like, limit myself to just having a Muslim wife. I'm a strong believer in, like, if I like you, I like you. So, like, even if you may not be Muslim, like, and we seem to be compatible, like, very compatible, I don't think, like, that should be a hard cutoff. Like, for me.
But also, don't be looking for no Khadijah if you ain't no Muhammad. That's all I'm gonna say.
Any other questions?
Hit me up if you're interested in her. Like, let's say you are ready for marriage. Like, how do you meet somebody? How do you meet somebody in that halal way? Or like if your parents aren't for you getting married but you feel like you're ready, how do you go about that?
It's hard out here for Black Muslim women that are trying to enter the dating scene.
The purpose, from my understanding of a wali, is to vet people so that not everybody gets through. But unfortunately, I find that everybody gets through. And as a woman, it can be discouraging because you're like, this is what men are. This is how men are like.
Black Muslim men do not know the worth, the value of Black Muslim women in America. Because if they did, I'm telling you, you wouldn't see, and I'm not discriminating, you wouldn't see our Muslim brother Abdurrahman with Sophia or Jasmine. You see her with Aliyah. You see her with Fatima. That's what you would see them with.
See, let me tell you right now, I used to be a clown. I used to be the biggest of clowns ever. So, you know, obviously, as an African Muslim parent, you know, like my mom, she's like, oh, Wadis, and you know, African parents, they don't care. If you're 10 years old, they'll talk to you about marriage. That's just how it is. They're like, Wadis, please, I want you to marry a Nigerian Muslim girl. I'm like, Mom, no, leave me alone. I don't have to marry a girl that's Muslim. I don't want to. I don't have to marry a girl that's Nigerian. I don't want to. What was I thinking to myself? Like, are you dumb?
Western society, America, teaches you that, you know, light-skinned babes, they're so good. They're the best. They're the top of the line. I like it just diminishes like the Black Muslim woman. I'm like, so
it's always gonna be Black Muslim women. Like, there's no other option for me, right? There's no other option for me besides Black Muslim women. Someone who understands my religion, someone who understands what happens to people of the same color of my skin.
I feel like people like our age don't really like look at religion as like a factor into like who they look for, you know.
Another thing that I think is important to talk about is that it's not really talked about. Like, I feel like in the community, the Muslim, well, at least in the Nigerian Muslim community, it's kind of like all of us, like, one day I feel like you're just expected to get married.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well,
it's how you just wake up and it's like, it's time.
That? Like, how do you meet somebody? How do you, like, who do you talk to?
How do you get to know them?
How do you get to know them? How long do things like that usually last?
I know that there are a lot of Muslims within this country. There are a lot of Black Muslims. Though I say that, I oftentimes do not see any Black Muslim men.
But also, like, where do you meet Muslim guys? I feel like it's easy to, like,
Girl,
tell, like,
I have
you
no
know,
clue.
I'm wearing, obviously, I'm Muslim. Not that every Muslim woman wears the hijab, but, that I feel like is a huge thing. Like, where do you go?
There are a lot of pressures for Black Muslim women to find the one at a very young age. We're already socialized. Well, this is for women, period. We are socialized to think of the social clock. By 24, 25, trying to get married, 26, have kids. You know, so we're over here at 20, 19, even 18, trying to scramble, trying to, you know, thinking that we're running out of time.
And mind you, I'm speaking to Nigerian culture because that's the experience that I know. They will say, okay, you're at that age where you should be married. So they don't do research on the people they introduced you to. They just start sending people your way. He's single. He's Muslim. He's single. Why are you not married? Then they will tell you, you're too picky. You're too picky. You're never going to find the right person. I will do the lie.
I wouldn't say at my age. I would say in my community. There are like stages. So like right now we're still in university. It's like focus on that, but immediately that's over, it's like, where's the husband? in our community, like culture, like in the Nigerian community, that's heavily something that comes. And then when that happens, it's like, where's the baby? Like, they're waiting for the next thing to happen, which is like, at the end of the day, they want good for you. But sometimes, like, I've heard stories of people that they basically harassed them because they were getting too old. They were getting to a certain age. It's like, where's your husband? Where's your wife? Where's your this? And like, I think that's something that some people in our community tend to forget. That at the end of the day, they have things they have to focus on. And you also have to focus on yourself before you can focus on other people. So if you're in a stage where you're not ready to get there, then you can't pressure someone to be there.
Men, especially also Muslim men, you are included in this conversation, have more space to experiment, more space. They have a lot more leeway than Muslim women do.
But like men have free reign and they take abuse of that. And I feel like they tend to do that a lot, especially when it comes to like, you know how like some Muslim men are like, oh yes, I want to marry 7 wives because Allah says I can marry 7 wives. But like, do you really know what is in store for you? Like, do you know what that really can? And first of all, you always have to, if you want to marry more than one woman, Islam says that you have to ask your wife, oh, I want to bring another woman, can I do that? If a woman says no, that's it, bro. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, what do you want to do? So I'm like, no, it's my right. Like, they'll be like, oh, by marrying more than one woman, I'm pleasing Allah. Are you really? Which Allah are you pleasing?
I feel like a lot of people think that women get trapped into marriages in Islam when that's not the case. There are laws in the Quran basically say that you can't force a woman to get married to someone who they don't want to for the sake of family name or anything. They have to be the person to accept or deny on their own personal choice. And I think that is something that is neglected in terms of like educating other people that we have a lot of power in this.
Right? Like, it's sad that we have to unlearn that, right? Like, I didn't just come out not object. Like, we had to unlearn some of these things, like some of the ways that we think, some of these sexist ideologies, right? And that has to do with what I said before, just teaching young children, men and women, you know, about relationship, about love, about objectification of women, about sex, just to guide them in the right way. Because at the end of the day, the society that they live in, the environment they grew up in, is already teaching them one way already. So, and without you guiding them, they're just gonna be led astray.
This is just like, specifically for me, I guess it's just also how I grew up. Like my parents, like I said, my parents never like gave me expectations on who I have to like choose, but they also didn't really give me expectations on how I have to choose them. So like for me, I guess I kind of had that freedom to like figure out and explore. But like I guess like other Muslims that grew up in different cultures might not have that same experience as me. But yeah, it's definitely a tricky situation to be in, just because the subconsciousness of thinking like whether you're doing this right in a halal way, whether you like, you know, like whether like it's gonna be accepted within your community or like frowned upon. But yeah.
And you know, some people will tell you it's okay to settle. Me, I'm gonna be 36, and everybody will say, yes, you should settle. But I'm blessed to have been around women who, they got married in their 30s, they got married in their 40s, and they got divorced. And one thing that sticks with me is they said, when you get married, all these people that are forcing you to get married, they're not going to be there with you. So for me, you know, I'd rather not just settle just for the sake of being married. What I would say is start younger. You know?
I will say, guys, don't be shy, because if there really is a Muslim shorty that you really trying to like holla at, just do it.
Honestly, I'm here for a Muslim Love is Blind. I've said it from the beginning. If you don't know what Love is Blind is,
oh my gosh,
I don't know what to say. I mean, I
feel
like
get
Love
into
is
that.
Blind is basically,
that'd be fun.
They basically took that from like the Muslim way of like going about
don't see each other until you decide.
Don't be shy. Like, just go ahead. Shoot, let me think about what my type is.